movement at the moment. There's a revolution in Brahms playing where you're looking at how they played at the time, and there's much more freedom, and the metronome doesn't really feature much. And lots of shifts, and you kind of interpret all the hairpins in a completely different way. They're much more expressive rather than kind of dynamic. I had the pleasure to go and have a whole day of working on these sonatas, well, the viola sonatas with Clive Brown in Vienna, he's done all the research, he's read all the letters, he's listened to all the recordings of the time, and he gave us lots of inspiration how to experiment and how to play around with the timing.
One of the things we've looked at as we've worked on the sonatas is tempos, and the first movement of the F minor is in 3/4 and it's marked Allegro appassionato, as is the scherzo of the E flat, but often people play completely different tempos, namely the first movement of the F minor more slowly. So we've decided to see what that could be like, pulled the tempos slightly closer together, and Clive was also happy about that when we discussed that with him, as he was with the idea that the trio, marked sostenuto in the E-flat sonata, should not be taken too slowly, as has become the habit in the post-war years.
So I'm using 2 open gut strings at the top, which makes it quite difficult, but you get a lot more expression. It's much more human sound. But you also get kind of cracks sometimes, and it's quite difficult when the temperature changes, if it rains or if it doesn't rain, if it's dry. So you have to kind of get around that, but you can also use it as an extra expression.
We're very grateful to Simon Neal of Oxford for allowing us to use the piano. It's an 1872 Bösendorfer. It has a Viennese action with single escapement, and that means, amongst other things, that the hammers are back to front to a normal piano. Normally the piano, the head lever comes out from the key with a hammer on the end, and this it's mounted reverse, comes back at you. And the dampers are also very unusually mounted compared to normal. And then the other rather extraordinary thing is that because the hammer delivers a slightly glancing blow to the string, the hammer felt is covered with a little piece of leather, which in this particular piano has got 3 deep ruts in it, corresponding to years of interaction with the strings. But it does have a very gentle una corda, which was useful for me to try and handle it. The single escapement was a bit problematic, for example, in the last movement of the G major, because it doesn't repeat inside the key terribly reliably. But the great joy of an instrument like this, which is straight strung, is that there's a great purity to the ringing bell-like sound in all the registers, and the registers all have their own personality, and you don't get any thick, clunking textures in the bass. And you can explore to find very special, slightly idiosyncratic sounds you wouldn't find anywhere else. And also, of course, you can balance with viola much more easily than on a modern instrument. So we've enjoyed working very much with this instrument. When we went out to play to Clive Brown in Vienna, we spent some time with Gert Hecker, who restored Brahms's Streicher piano and has an enormous collection of pianos. So we are increasingly aware of what's possible with these mid to late 19th century instruments.